Yeah, what's up with you? Well, hi.
It's good to see
Yeah,
you.
I would hand it out. That's what I'm gonna do right here.
Oh,
okay.
Can you pass them down, please? Oh, they are. Yeah, always works. Taking one. Sorry, then your husband isn't in the chair. Packets passing out. Sorry. They're pairs. Scanning it. Yeah. He's bouncing all over the place lately.
Uh-oh.
You want me to do it? Getting her in. You know, whatever you want. You can throw it at the end unless it's. No. No, it's not. But, yeah.
Like a school teacher here. They should be doing this.
I don't know what app you're using nowadays, but for whatever reason, I can never open the package anymore. I'm just a hard copy guide from now on, I guess. Hmm. Thank you.
I feel like every time we do that, my grandpa used to do that when we were kids. He'd point the remote at you and be like, "Mew, you're talking too much." So every time I go like that, I'm like, I think of him. Please don't think I'm muting you, Alan. What? I I was handed to me when I walked in this room. I can't find her any longer. Oh, she left? She left. Thanks for looking out. Tells you how well I am to my surroundings. God, I feel like I got a mess. I'm not used to having the attorney next to me. I usually can spread out.
So sorry. Maybe.
She left. She handed it to me when I walked in here. I went and made a copy. I assumed it was a public comment, but Jake said she left. But to be frank, that might be, some people do tend to address you all not by the right form. I'm just saying. It's the understanding of politics.
You're mad at me. It's Alva.
I am gonna keep my thoughts to myself. Okay, I'm ready whenever you all are.
All right, we'll call the meeting.
Councilman Harjo.
Present.
Councilwoman Workala.
Present.
Councilman McCarthy.
Present.
Councilman Sanders.
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
President, let the record reflect we do have a quorum for June 26th. We're going to run, actually really quick, Councilman Harjo.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to add executive session 74-2.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Mayor.
Tiffany.
City staff would like to add an emergency item to today's agenda. It's regarding the termination of Civic Plus Community Development Module and instating the OpenGov module for community development.
Reason tip is.
We have to have the our OpenGov module terminates June 16th. And the data is not merging, but we can discuss that further. And I provided you all an email this afternoon in hopes you can review that as well as the information in front of you this evening.
You want that placed on?
New business is fine, I think. So.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
point of order.
Sanders.
Added the agenda item needs to come from the council members.
Pardon me?
It needs to come from a council, does it not? Staff doesn't have the ability to add an agenda item. So I want to make a motion to add, to
Because
amend the agenda for tonight,
Because the meeting has already began.
correct?
That's correct.
To add an agenda item on the request from staff for approval to extend the OpenGov contract and terminate the Civics Plus contract.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Question?
Aye.
Sorry. Councilwoman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Okay. All right, we're going to run down to public hearing. The public hearing on the proposed increase to utility tap, deposit fee, connected fee, and late fee. Would anybody like to get up and speak for or against it? Hearing none. Public hearing closed. Run down to recognizing persons in the audience. Anybody like to get up for 3 minutes?
Harry with TVP, can you get up in public comment, please? He's not an agenda item.
Oh,
Sorry, Terry, I just called you right out.
no, you're good.
Anybody else? I just want to.
You're good. Hey, Terry.
I present a lot of information in March. I highlight information. I'd like to focus on the additional hours that we added, ridership that. So I'll talk a bit about the ridership. At a total of 7,000 in the last 3,400 of those were seniors. 1,100 were persons with an additional 101 utilized wheelchair. Youth was at 131, at 2,200 at total, 7,000. That was the for 9 a.m., 5 p.m., 8 hours a day. Originally back in the variety of services. I'd like to talk a little bit about what we bring. First, we have dispatch, which is for the entire time that the service is utilized. So,
I don't think it works, Chris.
we have the administrative component out as well as the dispatch backup drivers. When we had one of our drivers moved, another one recently left, so we had to hire two more part-time drivers. So when that happens, we send drivers separate. We have our new technology coming up. And I'd just like to say that I want to mention too that I'm applying for a grant this September. I reached out to ITD about marketing and advertising and doing more. And they said that there should be an opportunity coming that I can apply for. So with that, I'm coming up on my very fast 3 minutes. But I thought what I'd like to do too is just hand out my talking points. I just brought them with me. If you wanted to review those while you're making your decision.
Yeah. I know this is at a weird time because it's a 3-minute time and normally don't engage, but because we could engage during later, do you mind if I engage right now?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, I don't mind. Yes.
Could go either way. Terry, so remind me, there's no charge to use the transit.
Right, and the reason that it's fare free is the fares were nominal, especially for the group that utilized the service, and the regulations are so extensive for double counting, for auditing purposes, for a lot that I've mentioned that it was actually prohibitive. So the city, and they're not allowed to match. That's the key point. So what the 3,500 that the city contributed toward the fares brought in actually closer to 8,000 in grant funds. It's the grant funds that are truly critical. And with fares not being allowed as match, it means it just comes off the bottom line, but it does not draw in any grant funds. And we're treated the same as Boise system as far as double counts, auditing, tracking, all of that. It does make it, and bringing people out. You have to have 2 people to pull the fares. You have to have an additional 2 people to count them, as well as then the tracking and the auditing that goes with the ridership and all of that. It's a pretty extensive process.
I understand that. When you explained that earlier to us as a body, I'm going to struggle giving you $52,000. This is just me speaking for myself, but giving you $52,000 of the taxpayer money if there's no fee that's associated with it. You do a very good cause with the seniors and disabled, but you also have 2,214 adults, right, on there that take it for free. So again, I don't want to, I know this is a strong statement, and I've said this before, but I do not want to make Mountain Home a welfare city. People need to pay for what they use. So maybe go back to, again, we're budget season in the next week or 2. So maybe go back and look at what maybe you can do to try to see how we can do accountability for this. I know you said like to get grants, if you don't get grants if you charge. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Fares are not allowed to draw down any grant funding.
Okay.
And it's crazy in my opinion, but that's.
Then that makes us a welfare state. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm going on my little political path here. So anyway, so let's maybe look at that, charging a fare. Okay.
I would like to make one point too, that anytime there's a shortfall, like right now we're being hit very hard with the cost of fuel. We did not expect it to go up 50%. That was not in the budget. So what TBT has to do to meet all those costs, again, is to cover that shortfall. So in that respect, I'd like to, state that as well. Fuel has gone up considerably even since I wrote the budget for this year. So that's something that
I understand. So I just want to make
It's
it
a difficult decision.
as clear as possible from my perspective before you leave here and then something happens at budget session. We're like, why didn't I get my 52,000? Right? Again, I have no idea where the other three
I understand.
mines are at with that, but that's at least where I stand. And I wanted you to know that.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, anything else, council? All right, Terry, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. And so Terry was supposed to be on the presentation, so that's why she got more than the 3 minutes, and that's why we were able to engage. So just for clarity, would anybody like to get up and speak really quick? Come on down.
I am currently a DUI, a drug DUI participant here in Elmore County, and I'm in phase 3, and what I'm having to do now is service project to get back to the community. So I've made my project, planting seeds to read, and what I'd like from you guys as a whole is box at the center. And the reason I chose that location in keeping books at the box. It's not going to be something that I put up in certain kind of books to tall one and a short one. And I'm going to have some books that are going to address things. Of course, one of them being addiction. But I've talked to Alan and Alicia at the Royal Race Center, and when I graduate, I'm going to be going to Boise, but I would be 3 months. How to put enough, and in the 2 months that I'm so I just want to bring y'all to date.
What was your name?
And my name is Sonia.
Sonia.
I'm not nervous.
No, you did great.
All right, Sonia, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good afternoon, I'm Dara Corvus. I'm here focusing on resolution number 19. As I speak today, I would like to remind you of my email I sent back on May 5th with my examples and suggestions for water. I noticed it was sent to me, this resolution, with pretty minimal information. It came to me just by someone, it didn't come in the mail. Didn't have any education or even proof of possible results to the people who are taking the burden on. I was going to write up a long email, but someone sent this one to me, and she gave me permission to read it. Addressing the resolution, I understand the urgency in addressing our water shortage, particularly with our aquifers. However, this feels like a solution that both years overdue and ultimately misdirected. As it stands, the resolution places the burden almost entirely on the taxpaying residents without offering broader solutions with shared accountability. That is what she struggles with. This issue has been known and discussed for years, yet the response is both restrictive and effectively all previous decisions have contributed to the very strain that we are in right now. She's not okay with, and neither am I, with only residents being asked to carry the burden when multiple housing and business developments were approved despite knowing concerns around water and capacity. I'm especially not okay with this resolution when a water park was approved, even those same concerns were moved. I'm not okay when construction tied to solar farms projects is drawing water from our city park. And lastly, I'm not okay with it when we continue to maintain water-intensive spaces like the golf course and parks and perfectly manicured grass, while asking residents to align with conservative efforts of transitioning to zero escapes. These other spaces within the city need to be modified too. As a resident and a taxpayer, I would strongly urge the council to say nay on this resolution in its current form and instead focus on addressing the larger scale contributors to the problem. These need to be considered in the resolution as they also strain the ecostructure. And I feel like it's important to note that we have construction crews grabbing water for the city, and we have companies within the city who are not paying the same rate as residents. And to quote you, Jenny, from earlier, they should pay for what they use. The fact that the citizens are being restricted and given alternating days, I would like to see the city also use that. I would like the city to implement methods to make sure everyone who's using water pays for the water. Please come back to us. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Councilman and Mayor Sykes. My name is Sylvia Nixon, and I am addressing the watering issue here in town. First off, I think watering should be every other odd days for odd houses and even addresses for even days with no watering on the 30th. Many people have only weekends off to work in their yards and gardens. By eliminating Sunday watering, you are hurting people who only have weekends to work in them. I do not have a problem with this way of watering. I come from Southern California. As part of this change, I think that the city should take the initiative to teach people the hows and whys of watering at certain times. Many people do not understand the importance of deep watering a couple times a week over daily shallow watering. I have buck garden beds and fruit trees. At times, I will need to water daily, depending on the weather. I know this has been addressed in the resolution, but how will you monitor this? Is the public going to get fined? I have a friend who is now out of the country for the next month. I do not know how their water cycles. Are you going to fine them if they are an even house and they're supposed to be watering on odd days? We begin asking our community members to conserve water when all entities need to be striving to conserve water. And with all the building, perhaps we need to have a moratorium and stop all the building because we don't have the water to take care of all these homes and businesses. All of our water, including the water supplied to the golf course, comes from the Mountain Home Plateau Aquifer, which is decreasing at a rate of 1 to 3 feet a year. People in town spend much of their time enjoying their yards and gardens, but only 3 to 5% of people in the city golf. So it doesn't make sense for the community to foot the bill for the golf course's water needs. Back in 2025, Mayor Rich Sykes himself said to KTVB News that our golf course, which most municipally run golf courses in Idaho, are designed to be self-sufficient with user fees. In Mountain Home, the revenue falls way short. City general funds fill the gap. Historically, this is between $300,000 and $500,000 a year, and sometimes higher. Why are we not self-sufficient? Raise the green fees. And once again, as Councilwoman Ricala said, pay for what they use. Far more people in the community use the parks and the golf course, and in addition to paying for the parks through our taxes, we cannot just use park facilities at will. We have to rent and pay for them. Public pools also. And I have a question. Why do construction companies get water much cheaper than us? We pay $1.81 for 20,000 gallons, and $2.20 for over 45,000 gallons. At this price, the two Dodge Brothers bills should be $43.90.48 for 196,000 gallons, and $17.40.48 for 77,700 gallons. They only paid $1,218 and $474 respectively. It's egregious that construction companies not only are private entities who use our water, they need to pay for the water they use at the same price we pay.
Sylvia, thank you. Anybody else?
I just real quick. It's the sound. People are texting me because they cannot hear.
Yeah, we had them today, so those are. Can they hear us?
All yours.
Now you got to do all these.
No. Stay there. Here, this mic will pick you up. Pick me up? Fine. Hey, I present for a living. You probably don't need a mic.
That's an Amber.
Your name?
So, members of the council, Mayor Sykes, thank you for the opportunity to address Resolution 19-2026R. My name is John Crossno. I am not a lawyer, and this information is based on research that I've done. While many, I'm sure, share the city's concern for responsible water stewardship, this resolution, as written, raises serious legal deficiencies under Idaho law. First, the enabling authority cited is legally insufficient. The resolution rests entirely on Ordinance 7-1A-3 as its grant of authority to restrict irrigation. However, Idaho Code 67-6511 requires that any land use or resource restriction ordinance must be consistent with the city's adopted comprehensive plan. No such consistency finding is made here, and the resolution itself references the 2020 comprehensive plan only in the context of landscaping encouragement, not as a foundational basis for mandatory restrictions. Second, and most critically, this resolution potentially conflicts with Idaho's prior appropriation doctrine. Idaho is a prior appropriation state. Under Idaho Code 42-101, water rights are property rights, vested, constitutionally protected property rights. The Idaho Supreme Court has consistently held, including in Shokel v. Dunn and subsequent decisions, that interference with a perfected water right without due process and just compensation implicates both the Idaho and United States constitutions. City water customers who hold municipal delivery contracts have a reasonable expectation of use. Restricting that delivery based solely on street address without any individualized assessment of their contracted water right entitlement is legally questionable and potentially compensable. Third, the odd-even schedule creates an equal protection concern. Under Article 1, Section 2 of the Idaho Constitution, similarly situated persons must be treated equally under the law. Restricting a homeowner's irrigation access based purely on whether their address is odd or even, with no relationship to actual water consumption, lot size, or demonstrated waste, is an arbitrary classification. Courts have found such blunt instruments legally vulnerable when less restrictive, more tailored alternatives exist. An example of a less restrictive method might be to just ask the residents of Mountain Home to alternate their watering days and consider potential water constraints. Fourth, the resolution lacks an appeal or variance mechanism. Idaho administrative due process grounded in Idaho Code 67-5201 requires that affected parties have a meaningful avenue to contest governmental restrictions on property use. This resolution provides none. There is no hardship exemption process, no administrative appeal, and no defined enforcement procedure, all of which are legally necessary for a durable, enforceable municipal regulation. I have more, but I'm out of time, so I'll respect the 3 minutes.
John. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Right. We're going to run down to conflict of interest. Was there one more? John, come on up.
Hey guys, this is not to do anything with the water. So I just wanted to present this to the mayor and the city hall, mayor, councilman. I'm John Hochstrasser. This is my beautiful wife Judy. I started this years ago, and I got chronological order of the pool being built, and I just thought that maybe they could hang it up in the area. You guys did a great job with it. I know it took a lot of time. I mean, a lot of things happened, and things were stopped, shipping and whatnot, but it got done, and now the community can enjoy this. And whether it takes a lot of water or not, it's a wonderful thing you guys did. So I'm gonna give this to you. You can do with it what you want. Maybe hang it up over there in this one office.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful place to go swimming. I've found many friends there and bonded, and it's not just exercise, it's a great build to our community. So I think it's very worthwhile.
Where's Tiffany? All right. All right. We're gonna run down. You coming down, Christy?
So we're supposed to say who we represent and all that stuff, or just start talking?
Who you are?
I'm Christy Zitto. I'm a resident of Mountain Home, Idaho, and I'm here because I've had so many calls from people because of the position that I hold. I just would like to remind the council that just because something might be legal, that doesn't mean that it's moral. And as servants of the public, we have a moral obligation to watch out for the people first. People pay the water, they maintain the water system, and they'll continue to pay and maintain the water system. And they have, as we've heard, and there's been some very good discussion, I've been very impressed with what we've heard here today, a legal right to that water on top of everything else. We continue to see building more and more and more, but we're constantly told we don't have any water. And I know that this has been the case for years because we've looked at property in Mountain Home since the late 80s, and it's always been a problem here. This is not a new situation. So I just hope that in the decision that you make tonight, you'll take into consideration who it is that this will affect the most. And that's the residents of this city that we represent, the people that we are supposed to look out for first. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Conflict of interest declaration. Has any councilman received information pertaining to or otherwise any contact with any person regarding items on this city council? Do you have so please set forth nature of contact?
Mayor.
Councilwoman Workla.
Yes. Under consent agenda number 5, I either spoke with or received emails from and had correspondence via email. But Corbis, Becky Garvey, Alan Bump, Nicholas Gatchen, Tim Standish, Tim O'Connor, Stephen File, Cynthia Nixon, Nicholas Champion, Misty Pierce, Joe Uhas, and Patty Stapp.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
I had the same exact interactions minus Becky Garvey.
Councilman McCarthy.
I had similar emails regarding the number 5 for consent agenda from Terry Manduca, Misty Pierce, Alan Bump, Patty Stats, Sharon Goff, Darlene Yukas, Sylvia Nixon, Rod Dudley, Nicholas Champion, Nicholas Gatigan, and Stephen Field.
Mr. Mayor, amongst the contacts I've received, Megan Champion, Ellen Bump, all in church, person or persons unidentified, Darlene Uhas, Misty Pierce, Sylvia Nixon, Janet Kressler, Nicholas Champion, Nicholas Gatchen, and Idaho family, again, persons, names not disclosed. Didn't see it in there. Marty Anderson, Laura Atchley, and the Elmore County Republican Central Committee.
Mayor.
Councilwoman Workla.
And I forgot, Chrissy Zitto did call me, so add her to that list.
Okay. All right, we're gonna run down to. I guess I gotta ask: is there any conflict that you have any on that, you guys? No. All right. We're gonna run down to presentation. Arts Council's FY 26-27 budget presentation. Chris.
This one?
You want my seat, Chris?
No, these are
Right here.
Yeah, I want your seat.
So sit in that chair if you can, please.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
So I'm Chris with the Arts Council, and I'm here with President Mildred McNeil and other of our board members. They're here to make sure I say what I'm supposed to say, because I often do not. But let's try it this time. So a little bit of updates since my last report in April, and then I'll go over the budget and our vision for next year. If you start on this page with the event statistics, you can see that we have served over 6,500 people in the community, including about 1,000 youth, and we've activated just under 400 local artists with our programming. I should say our programs go from July to June every year, so we're just finishing up the year. and we remain on schedule and on budget. We do, because updating since April, right now we're fundraising for community canvas as well as the summer concerts. So that's June is a big month for us. So we really won't know until July. So, but we're excited about those programs, adding new murals here in a couple weeks, and then we'll have summer concerts every Friday in July. So 5 Fridays. If you skip over as I'm talking, so here's our 26-27 plan right here. It's front and back. We'll get the brochure out later. We're still scheduling this, so I just have it as a Word document. We are doing everything from theater in the park, community canvas, summer concerts. Our visual artists continue to be hard at work with a gallery with FUBAR, the Colorful Vine, Hope City, a youth art show. They continue to add programming. Hope City was wildly successful art and mental health awareness show. And that's been growing organically by activating our artists and getting them together and giving them display systems, not only around the city, but the galleries and so forth in these shows. Again, with the Fall Coffee House, we are on our 18th year with our literary journal, publishing Elmore County and surrounding areas. We are bringing in several artists to work with our students, from cello to singer-songwriters. At our nursing home, Tracy Morrison will also be at St. Luke's, as you see that, and then Molly and the Mineshaft will be at a nursing home, and we have the 3 tenors coming in on their Broadway, off-Broadway tour, and they will also be working with students. So those are some of the performing arts highlights. And other than that, we continue to local showcases, open mics, author readings. Mountain Home Songs is a partnership with the brewery, featuring local musicians. We partner with Generations to do the Idaho State Fiddle Contest, which has been growing in years, and that's a qualifier for Weezer. And I think that's about it as far as programming. If you look at the budget, so that's front and back as well. The front is our full budget. The back is performing arts because that is one of our most expensive. So that gives you some detail. But overall, what you'll see is that in general sense, we bring in a third of, so you can see that our total budget, which is pretty similar to last year, is about $83,000. A third of that we bring in earned revenue, a third of it is contributed in local support, and a third of that is grants. So we so appreciate, and we do not take for granted, I guess no pun intended there, what the city does for us and helps with these programs. It's a large boon to that, especially in the past couple of years, which have been a little more difficult in the grants. We've still been bringing over a little over 20,000 in grants, but federal grants have not come back at this point. But we have seen, and I think I mentioned this last time, we've seen city support in that local support. Not only do sponsorships and local support make up a third, but people stepped up when they saw that we were lacking a little bit last year and said, yeah, I can help out a little extra. This is important to me. And I think it's important to the community too. Just 1 minute on the soapbox. I mean, this is not just about arts and humanities and cultural events. This is about connection. This is about bringing our community together. This is creating a spirit. This is also economic. It brings lots into our community. Like I said, a third of our budget is from outside our community that is brought into our community. People are staying here for programs. People are, we bring into the restaurants, the hotels, and so forth. So anyway, it has impact all around, but the biggest thing for us is the impact on our youth, creating that community and connection and better citizenry. So I think that's about it. Any questions? I guess the first question would be, I am asking for renewed. I'll ask my own question. I am asking for renewed funding of $7,000, as you'll see is part of this budget. So.
All right, Council, you got anything for Chris?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders?
Chris, I want to thank you. The package is very informative. It's laid out well. It's pretty much what was asked for by councils before I came on board. This gives me something to work with that I can have confidence in when I'm looking it over. So thank you, sir. Well done.
All right, Chris, thank you, bud.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm gonna run down to the senior center and Meals on Wheels. Lisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Simpson from the Senior Center. Thank you for this opportunity, of course. I have give each of you, excuse me, some information in regards to the activities, the menu, also our budget, and of course, I'm just wanting the same as I get every year. Whatever you want to give me. I have a lot here. I guess I better should read it. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you about the importance of the city's continued support of the Mountain Home Senior Center. Over the past year, we've seen significant increase in community engagement on the 3 days per week that we're open. We welcomed approximately 87 members and visitors at, I got the wrong one. I had last year's.
You want this one?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind. I wonder why I couldn't find mine.
I was tracking with you right up to that point.
Thank you. Okay. We had approximately 9,600 members and visitors at an 18% increase from last year. During this time, our kitchen prepared more than 16,300 meals for both in-center dining and Meals on Wheels program, which serves homebound community members with the help of dedicated volunteers. With growing participation, we expect to serve over 17,800 meals this year. Unfortunately, this growth comes with rising costs. Our food expenses alone have increased nearly 23% compared to April of last year. As always, the donation is voluntary and many are unable to contribute. To bridge the gap, we continue to rely on crucial support from the city, county, and generous grants, including contributions from key partners such as St. Luke's. Beyond food service, we face increase in costs in wages, utilities, insurance, maintenance, and supplies. They're all essential to providing a safe and welcoming place for the seniors to gather, socialize, and thrive. Our bus service remains an integral part of our mission, offering transportation, daily lunches, programs, and outings to help seniors active, connected, and engaged. With our ongoing support, we hope to sustain and expand these vital services. The Senior Center is more than a building, it's a community hub that fosters health, connection, and dignity for older residents. We especially remain committed to the Meals on Wheels program, which delivers not just nutrition, but companionship and well check to those unable to leave their homes. If you'd like learn any more about our programs or facilities, reach out to the center or connect with a board member. We would be happy to share more about the impact of your support on our seniors' lives. With sincere gratitude, the Mountain Home Senior Center Board of Directors. I also had something I wanted to add. The chairman of the board would like me to consult with the mayor and the city council in regards to the possibility of paving the back parking lot of the senior center. We received a bid of $105,500 for paving the back parking lot. We are aware the city owns the lot, so I'm here to ask if this is possible and to request help with the project. I know grants would be the first thing to work on, and you can find a copy of that bid in your file folder. I think I did that under 5 minutes.
Mayor.
Councilwoman Worklow?
So yeah, just to clarify, city owns the property, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of like asking for it.
No, sure. Have you, this is only one company. Have you gone out to
Yeah, I
others?
want to get more. Yeah, I've
Okay.
tried to, and they never show.
So have you considered like crushed rock that's compressed into the ground? It's much cheaper than concrete right now.
No, we haven't.
So I'll just say there's other options maybe that might be
That's
cheaper.
a good
This is a
idea,
pretty penny here. And then my other question is do you, oh, I'm so sorry. That's a first in 2.5 years. Sorry, guys. My other question is, do you give the same presentation to the county commissioners?
Yeah, we will.
You do every year during their budget time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many patrons from the county use the senior center?
Not offhand.
Okay, I know that's a weird question. It's probably weird to figure that out. My challenge for you, they're only donating. I won't say only because a donation's a donation, but 3,500.
Mm-hmm.
The city's 7,000, and so that was my question: is where, you know, maybe are you serving more to this Mountain Home citizens, or is it outside of the county as well, equal or not equal? But maybe ask them too for, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like that's something that the city, we get asked a lot. But if the county's using
I'm not expecting for all of you guys. So.
but if the county is using it the same, right?
Yes.
Then maybe ask them as well.
Oh, I
or,
will.
For a comparable.
They actually gave us a grant last year to help us pave our sidewalks.
Oh,
so we did get that done last
from
year.
The county?
On our own with the donation from Connie Cruiser, the county, and we had the other half share of it. Turned out pretty good. I don't think it's in that letter at all. Okay. But yeah, crushed actually sounds a lot cheaper.
Mayor.
How's the upkeep with that versus paving? I don't know.
Councilman Arjo.
Yeah, just on that, that's a fantastic idea. At times, the city does have piles of crushed asphalt. I don't know where we're at with that now. It's been used in other instances and seems to perform pretty well in both holding up and keeping drainage away and not becoming a mud pit. So that's a potential to look into for that. One question that I've been meaning to catch up with you on, Lisa. City owns the ground. You guys own the building on the ground. One of the seniors at Senior Center mentioned to me just a brief while ago that in inclement windy weather that sometimes the flag on the flagpole will touch the building.
Yes, yes.
Mayor and staff, is that maybe something that we could take a look at in our upcoming budget to perhaps allocate a little bit of funding to relocate that pole in partnership with the senior center, so we can put it not just in a more prominent place, but respect the flag and its.
Well, most of them want to put it out there by that rock, but we don't have no electricity out there for the light for it. The county did offer one off of Air Base Road or American Legion that was coming up. I haven't heard any more about that. I have asked the city to paint it, the pole itself. I think what happens when it half masses, it hits the roof, and that's when it gets all ripped up.
Yeah.
And those flags aren't cheap.
Agreed.
But anything will help, anything at all. I'm all for it.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Good to see you. Bye, everybody.
I'm down to number 3 on presentations, the Historical Society FY 26-27 budget presentation.
Hello, Mayor and City Council members. This is Stephanie, James, and myself are on the board of the museum. And just wanted to take a minute to talk to you a little bit about what our activities. We've been hosting tours for the students. The East Elementary, the junior high, the high school, and some homeschoolers have also come in. There's about 20, 25 per class that comes in. So we try to really work with the kids to try to get them engaged in history, which they love to type on the typewriters. We really like to, we do a quarterly newsletter For our patrons, we take it also to the visitor center and to the RV park. We get a lot of feedback from them. A lot of people come in with that, so we appreciate that. We are partnering with other community institutions. Right now, we're working with the library for their scavenger hunt, and that's going really well. It's fun to have the parents come in too, and they bought some of our store items when they come in with the kids. We work a lot with the other museums with their donating goods and things like that, or donating, archiving historical stuff. We also do geology for our genealogy. There you go. Research for the Elmore, because I could see you going, God, blah, blah, blah. For families in Elmore County. So, and then we also do a membership drive to try to get more members and stuff like that to help also offset our expenses. And we just like to try to keep the museum open as best we can. Some of our future goals are we like to try to do some more social media. We're going to have a book sale. We have some books that we need to have a fundraiser sale. We'll have a cinnamon roll sale, and we'll do some displays and stuff that for some of the businesses. So if on the next page, if you'll look at our balance sheet at the top, I know in the past that Councilperson Workala was asking about this. So what we have in our checking account right now, as of last night, was a little over $10,000, and we have an Edward Jones Building Fund, which has $61,000, a little over $61,000. We'd like to, our outside display, that's why we kind of earmarked that for some type of deal out there. But we know that in the future we're going to have to do a copier to purchase a copier or something, so some of that's going to go for that. You look at the bottom part is our profit and loss. The county, we received $6,000 from the county, and most of everything else is the interest from that Edward Jones and membership and our museum store sales. So in that we haven't asked for the $7,000 because I was didn't know for sure if we were capable of doing that because we haven't done the fundraisers. I know in the past that has been a problem, so I haven't asked for the $7,000. We haven't asked for the $7,000. Below is our expenses, which was $13,600, and so you can see that we overspent what we took in. Mainly what we have for expenses is just we're only open 3 days a week for 3 hours that time, and so it's salaries, and it costs us a lot to be able to have computer software is our main expenses of it. So that's kind of our rundown of where we're at and where we're going with the museum, and just trying to, mainly our big goal is try to educate children and stuff like that, to try to get people involved in history. A lot of people, history is not a very big importance. We have the museum is owned by the city. You guys own the city. You guys pay. You put $5,000 in repairs and maintenance to take care of it. So we appreciate everything that you do for that. Okay. Any questions?
Chris, are you talking about you didn't take the $7,000 from this fiscal year?
Mm-hmm.
You got approved to take it in our budget. Tiffany, did they meet all the requirements for? No, I'm sorry, I put you on spot, Tiff.
That's what I didn't know what the requirements were. So
you didn't know where the requirements were?
So I didn't.
Because I mean, the budget was approved to give I can't tell you what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks for the next fiscal year. But, so you're at a negative 2,000 something, is that what I'm seeing here? You are approved for that 7,000. Just saying,
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's something to inquire on, okay?
Okay. Then I'll be getting a hold of Paul. Yeah. Or through Tiffany, whoever. But anyway, we appreciate everything that you guys do for us, and Any questions? Please let me know.
Thank you,
Councilman, anything for Chris? Good. Councilman, oh, James, sorry.
I was just gonna say, we're also going to try to push for more ways to fundraise, outside of the budget you guys provide us, so that's one of our goals. So.
Yeah, I'll be hitting you up for cinnamon rolls. Dozen cinnamon rolls for $100.
Okay,
There you
sounds
go.
good. Will do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Going to run down to presentation number 4, Visitor Center FY 26-27 budget presentation. Not present. Okay. We're going to skip that one. We're going to run down to
Denise Perez, he called and said that they had some family matters. So I did tell her that that would be an issue if we would get her on the next one. Just so you all are aware, she did reach out.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay. We're going to run down to number presentations on number 5, Domestic Violence FY 26-27 budget presentation.
Good afternoon.
How we doing?
Thank you, council members and Mayor Sykes, for allowing this time for us to come out. My name is Zochi. I am the council director, formerly known as executive director. And with me is our board president. So he's also here for moral support and ensure that I'm pronouncing things correctly, and that I don't forget anything. So to start off with, I just want to remind everybody in the audience that the Elmore County Domestic Violence Council is here, located here in Mountain Home. We still get questions whether we're out in Boise or Nampa, and I just want to remind everybody that we are here in Mountain Home serving our community. To start off with, I will read out the letter that was sent out to you guys, just to ensure that I'm not forgetting anything. On behalf of the Elmore County Domestic Violence Council, we are requesting $10,000 in funding from the City of Mountain Home for the upcoming year. Last year, the city awarded ECDVC $7,000, and we are very grateful for that support. This year, we are requesting an increase of $10,000 because of the number of Mountain Home residents served and the continued need for victim service in our community. During calendar year 2025, ECDVC served 99 Mountain Home residents, responded to 333 hotline calls from city residents, and coordinated 8 responses with the Mountain Home Police Department. Provided 804 emergency shelter bed nights to city residents, and assisted with emergency transportation for 108 times for city residents. City funds were applied to personnel and operational costs directly associated with these services. These numbers reflect the ongoing need for local victim services and direct impact in the city's support has on Mountain Home residents. ECDVC provides services to victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, human trafficking, and other related crimes. Many of the people who come to us are in crisis and need help immediately. That help may include safety planning, advocacy, emergency shelter, transportation, food, clothing, hygiene items, or help navigating court, law enforcement, housing, and other community resources. If awarded, these requested funds would go directly towards direct services such as client transportation, which includes transportation to court hearings, medical appointments, law enforcement interviews, and safe housing options. Immediate client needs such as emergency food, clothing, hygiene products, shelter assistance, and other necessities for victims leaving unsafe situations. Direct service support include the 24/7 crisis hotline, staff time for crisis response advocacy, safety planning, case management, and referrals. Over the past year, ECDVC has continued working to provide reliable, compassionate services to victims and families in Elmore County. We have also worked to strengthen our internal systems and continue building relationships with local partners, so victims have the support when they need it most. Like many victim service programs, ECDVC continues to face financial challenges. Federal VOCA funding, which has historically been a major funding source for services like ours, has decreased significantly. At the same time, the cost of providing services has increased and the need in our community has not gone away. Local support is becoming more important than ever in helping us keep these services available. The City of Mountain Home support makes a direct difference for local residents who are experiencing some of the hardest and most dangerous moments of their life. We appreciate your past support and respectfully ask your consider funding ECDVC 10,000 this year. Thank you for your time. In addition, like discussed in the letter, we have made efforts to change internally. So one of the main things that we did was transition to in-person intakes to ensure that we're serving clients here in Mountain Home. If transportation is an issue, we can provide them transportation to do in-person intakes. And that way as well give them more of a one-on-one and individual directly support. Another thing was that we expanded court advocacy. So we have advocates who work with the prosecuting attorney's office. We have advocates that sit in court during courts that are specifically to our victimizations to help support them as well. We increased the presence in hospital settings. So now we are partnered with our local hospital here in St. Luke's. And we also do provide advocacy for victims of crime who come in and need additional support. All these changes have been to better serve our community and better support our clients. We continued efforts to do fundraising, grant writing to ensure that we have other funding sources to continue to serve clients without any interruption are still ongoing. We tried to do a golf tournament this month. It was our first time that we were doing an event outside of the gala, and well, we now see what went wrong, and so we're going to try and go after it again next year. But we're still continuing to do other fundraisers. Like in August, we have a car show coming up, and we're hoping to do a bowling tournament at the end of this year, as well as our yearly gala that we continue to do. I believe I covered everything. And I mean, our services remain the same. We still provide emergency shelter. We do transportations, have the 24/7 crisis hotline, and we do case management advocacy, and then as well as provide any essential resources that they may need throughout the time.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Workla.
Thank you so much. So Chris, this will answer your question as well. So a part of the contract that we have to donate the money to civil groups, there's those 3 requirements. And I just had to look them up real quick. Twice yearly reporting, financial reporting, which I don't see here, and service reporting. So are you able to put together a financial report for council? Okay.
I sure can. Yeah.
Okay. And okay.
Council, you got any other questions for Sochi? I said that right. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you guys.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for your time.
All right, council. We're going to run down the consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda that we need a little bit more clarification on? Is there something on there that you want to pull? Is there, you have a question on something?
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
I'd like to pull consent item number 5, please.
Councilman Sanders.
I'd like to pull item 4.
Mayor,
Councilman Workla.
I just want clarification on item number 6.
6. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm all about hearing from the public and doing a public hearing because I want to hear what the citizens have to say. However, I do want to make a statement on record about Exhibit A. Stand by. that when you see these costs here, because I think this was some confusion that was in the past with LAD1, these costs, these are estimated costs. So when you, if anybody wants to come up during the public hearing and speak on LAD2, I just want to reiterate, these are estimated costs. So when it says total per fiber property is 3,500, again, it's all dependent on how many people sign up within that area. That number could go up or down. So just to make that note. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so council, I've got polling, the consent agenda, polling item 4, polling item 5. Is there anything else, council? If not, do I have a motion to pass the consent agenda, pulling those 2 items?
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo,
make a motion to pass the consent agenda, pulling items 4 and 5 for discussion and new business.
Second.
been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
All right. We're gonna run down to old business amendment number 9, task order. Task orders 10, 11, 12, and 32 for water, wastewater, general engineering and development reviews, support with Keller Associates and Corp. Authorize the mayor to sign. Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders?
I'd like to hear from the Public Works Director about the purpose of the memo that prompted this action item and what the expected gains are from it.
There. So, after last council meeting, sorry. I'll start over. After last council meeting and Councilman Harjo's presentation, I brought this back before the council because we have several projects that are in the approval stages that have already been approved by this body and the previous body, that we have items that are in either development review, preliminary plat, or final plat that need to continue. In my memo, I broke it down. I believe that the right way to go forward is to do it on a yearly, but we can do by project if you choose. But I feel like it's important that we honor the commitments that we as the city have already made to the developers when we approved their projects. If we don't move forward with this task order, we do not have the money available to approve lift stations and the rest of the development plan reviews that are in the queue. I feel like it's the right thing to do. Move forward. Does that help, Councilman?
And is there any fiscal impact with these changes?
The impact is that I worked with Keller Associates and asked for them to do an estimate on how much money it would cost to get us to the end of this fiscal year, which is what that number is based on.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy?
I guess, Chris, thank you for sending us the memo.
Mm-hmm.
There's some points in there I think are great. You talked about how Public Works is going to work forward to City Council with monthly report summarizing services performed by Keller Associates. The report identifies major reviews completed, projects supported, you go on. Additionally, Public Works Department believes City would benefit from periodic presentations by Keller Associates on a quarterly or semi-annual basis. Fantastic. I think that's great. Something that I've been trying to push for a while now here on this and also on the DIFAC body. It's disappointing that we didn't get to have that meeting with Keller back in April to talk about wastewater. Still no one's still disappointing about that, but I guess I would like to first publicly say thank you to Councilman Sanders and Councilwoman Workla, because I feel that with a few questions and pushing back on the original task order, we essentially saved the taxpayers $110,000 almost, because the original task order was $150,000. So when I see this memo for $41,600, I know you say you work with Keller. I still have questions of, I know during the May 12th, you had discussed that you had been with city staff looking at development reviews, the fees that we charge. Where are we with that?
There. So the data that I have currently, the development fees that we collect when we do the development applications matches what we are spending currently. The only thing that doesn't match is when we get an oddball item like a lift station, and then we have agreements with those developers that they'll pay the additional fees on those. So we are collecting the appropriate amount currently. And I believe that was in Councilman Harjo's presentation that showed that spreadsheet that I'm using. That is one of the things I intend to make sure that when I do the reports to the council, and I want to make it very clear, those reports aren't going to come from Keller. That's not going to cost out of the budget that we're aligning. It'll come out of my office. I'll be the one developing them. But I will break that down and you will see what exactly it is we're paying, what development it's going to, and what we got for our money. Was it verifying water lines, sewer line depths, or was it a lift station, all those things. It'll break it down and it'll show you all that very clear.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy?
So Chris, if I'm understanding you correctly, development is paying enough development review fees to cover.
At this point, that is
this
correct.
point.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Unless
that takes care of that part.
Yep.
So my question is, if the development review fees are being paid for by growth, because growth should pay for itself, is this really more a task order about the on-call engineering piece?
This, sorry, Mayor.
You're good.
Covers both. It is both. It covers the on-call and the general reviews.
On-call and general reviews.
Yep.
I think I'm just going to be open about this. Since this whole thing came up, and I'll state it's my opinion, it seems that I'm concerned that the perception is that we're looking at more job security for a third consultant, where I know I have voiced a wish to move forward with an RFQ to open up for other engineerings and that. So again, I'm glad to see the reduction in the price, but I'm still concerned that we have so many task orders with Keller. It seems that they have I'll say almost a sole propriety when it comes to these task orders in the city. So again, my concern is that why aren't we going out for an RFQ, which we can include all of your recommendations, which again, I like, to make sure that we have those checks and balances for accountability of why we're spending money with a third consultant. But again, it comes back to why aren't we going out with an RFQ when we're just continuing to make an argument to keep Keller Associates?
Mayor, the reason I'm presenting this, because I understand that I got that crystal clear, that we're unhappy with Keller. And I understand we need to move forward with RFQ. This is for projects that have already been approved and are in the queue currently today. My intentions are that we not get litigation against us for delaying projects. These are large developers seeking trouble. They're large. They're moving forward. I don't want us to wind up in a position where we're being litigated against. I have no problem going out for RFQ. I will happily do that. It's something that we've discussed long before this came around. These are projects that are in the queue today. That's my concern. And I don't know legal. I don't know if there is an opportunity for a developer to litigate against the city if we slow their projects. But right now they're stopped. And that was my understanding as well. So I want to continue what we've already promised, which is to get these developments that are already approved and already moving forward to the finish line. That's my desire.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
So Chris, should the council decide to adopt this memo when we move forward in that direction, we basically are putting a stake in the ground saying, past this point, we're open to doing RFQs for engineering services.
If that's the direction that I'm given, absolutely.
Okay.
Mayor.
Councilman.
Quite frankly, that's how I feel, at least. I'll speak for myself, the direction I thought we were going when we denied this back in May 12th. So again, if development reviews are paying for it and it's really an issue of on-call engineering concerns and everything that comes up, I think the point was brought up of maybe we should have an engineer on staff, and that's something we should be looking at during budget season. And so I'm curious, it seems that when this body pushes back, this question of legality always comes up. And I use Railroad Park as an example. When Railroad Park had those pieces in it that allowed for termination of contract and that. So I don't want this necessarily just to be, well, we have an issue with legal and we could get sued, because I could probably quote a few other things that have happened within the city before my time, but we always run the risk of legal. So again,
get sued a lot.
So again, while I understand, I mean, it's a big chunk of change to go from $150,000 down to $41,600. So I'm curious how that came about. I think this is one of those things that the perception can be seen as that we're more concerned about job security for a third consultant than true. Because again, I can go back through the task orders, and the reason, one of them with the trunk line study, and I can go through with some of those properties and they've been on there for years and haven't developed. And then the fact that we had discussion and it came up with the term of eminent domain, and that just blows my mind that I never thought in Idaho I would actually even hear an argument for that. So I really understand where you're coming from. I think there needs to be a little bit more conversation than just this is what's being in the queue and we need to do it now. Because again, I want to see an RFQ so that we can go out and actually be looking at some different avenues while we include all of your things. Because again, this is what I've been wanting in your report for a long time, and I'm glad to see it coming, but I feel that it's now after, only because this body decided to deny the initial $150,000. So.
Mayor.
Councilman, or sorry, Chris?
Sorry, I just want to clarify one thing. So when you're saying that the price was reduced, technically it wasn't. The original task orders that were always granted the amendments were an amendment until the dollars ran out. They weren't constrained to a fiscal year. The only change is that I'm constraining it to a fiscal year, because if we were to move forward, hypothetically, October 1st, we would be asking for another task order amendment to get us through one more fiscal year. Not a dollar change. They haven't changed their prices. It's just now to October. Whereas before, the other one was open-ended until the funds ran out, which is how they were established long before my time.
There.
Councilman?
And that's, Chris, you brought that up, and that the original contract talked about the term for 1 to 2 years. So again, while you say that it's not a allotted amount, but I think it's pointing out that, like you said, it was kind of basically until the funds. So it was up to 150,000, where this one, we're only approving 41,000 as the cap. So I do count that as a checks and balance, we'll say. Okay. So.
All right, council. Let's say the
Mayor. Point of order.
Councilman, go ahead.
I
McCarthy.
see that there's no action item on this agenda for number 1. I know this issue came up when we had the special meeting for the golf. So I'm wondering if no action can be taken on this.
Paul?
As it's currently written, the answer, that's correct. So if it's eminent, that needs to be done as soon as possible, you could amend the agenda strictly to rename it as an action. But only if it's temporarily sensitive.
Could it wait till the next council meeting?
Yeah, Mayor.
Okay, I'll table this to the next council meeting. Okay. We're gonna run down to action item number 2, deliberation decision regarding golf course staffing structure, operational budgets. Operational, yeah. Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I'll kick this thing off. we had a special council meeting to further the discussion of what this council sees as the vision for the operation and maintenance of the golf course going forward. Fellow council members, as I tried to point out initially when we started these discussions, it has become more time sensitive as the vendor we had under contract allowed the contract to expire, and he actually left it just a little bit early. That was a hybrid form. That is one form we could authorize moving forward. The other would be to put out an RFP to totally, or in some portion of, have these services done by a third party, or the city can do it itself. Bear in mind that when the hybrid falls apart, it falls back on the city to make sure things keep running. If a third party backs out of a contract, it leaves the city in the default position of having to keep things running. When I first broached this notion with the council, it was that the city should take charge of the golf course in its entirety with a time-limited period to prove that it is able and capable and has the skills and talents necessary to successfully manage the golf course and move it away from the deficit spending it has been in for a number of years. That's going to remain my position. I still believe the city has the right people with the right skills and the right knowledge that, given an appropriate direction under their administrator, that we could see this golf course turn around and quit being the little sister of the poor that needs a transfer every year. Going to a hybrid is going to take time. Going out for a third-party contract is going to take time. And we have kicked this down the road substantially. It is my hope this evening that the council will discuss this and come to a point where they can make a decision on which overarching method we want the city administration to take when providing this amenity to our citizens. And with that, I'll be happy to stand for any questions.
Mayor.
Councilwoman Workla.
Councilman Sanders, I 100% appreciate your opinion and respect it, but there is no way that I will approve a city employee pro. Hands down, no way. So the only things you can maybe talk me into is hybrid or third party. I'm leaning more towards hybrid, but so to me, there's two options, and just as clear as. Yeah.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
there might be another option beyond that. Under our current staffing schema, we have someone with the skills and professional history of being a pro that is on as a full-time seasonal. Status quo is still an option, and utilizing that individual in the capacity of their professional knowledge running tournaments and so on is still an option, and it's well within our affordability because that's what we do today. So I'd like to offer that as a potential.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Councilman Harjo, you are correct in what you've said, but from my perspective, that still leaves the gap with how we deal with other services that were originally under contract that now would not be available through the current construct we have.
There.
Councilman Harjo.
Understood. Unfortunately, in the matter of how we've addressed the golf course, we've kind of itemized this as all hanging on the staffing structure and primarily the authorization of hiring a full-time pro or not. And as I've said before, the implication of that one hire is kind of the domino effect to all other facets of what implication there are, whether that's hire the city pro, find the hybrid balance by finding the appropriate third-party pro and putting them under contract. The retail portion of that has been a big chunk of the discussion. Does the city take it? Does the city not take it? Do we use taxpayer dollar? Do we find other mechanisms of paying for it that are not city resident taxpayer dollar but are within the general fund? Um, we've we've done a lot of speaking around these things. Um, under that additional option of maintaining somewhat status quo on the staffing level, that decision in and of itself doesn't prohibit the city from also making decision whether or not, as an independent thought, to enter into the retail space of the pro shop operation, whether the city owns that portion. So uh, I do think those things can be somewhat abstracted and directed by a very, very intently driven motion to define the specifics of both the hiring, what to do with the retail space, any caps or limitations on the retail space, and a general staffing structure. I do think a decision can be made around all of these things and encompassed in one motion, but in discussion kind of treated in like bucketized thought processes. There's been a lot of discussion about the retail space, and I do think we have some options in front of us there that are workable.
Mayor, I know that we've done the hybrid, right, with the former pro, and you said a statement, the definition of Sandy's doing the same thing over and over again. However, it is different. It is different because now the range is profits are coming into the city. The golf cart profits are coming into the city. I think there's one other thing. Help me, guys, city staff, but at least those two big ticket items, I can say we're going to the former pro's personal business and not into the city of Mountain Home. So it's not, to me, it's the same, but it's not the same because the revenue stream is different.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Councilman Workla. You got a lot of it right. There's a lot of it that wasn't said. Yes, the city now has the funding stream for the range. They were receiving a portion of the revenue from the pro in that area. They are now getting all the revenue for the carts. The contracted pro was providing a portion of that revenue to the city as part of his contracting fees with us. And he was bearing all the cost for providing the carts, providing the maintenance for those carts, which we've heard Councilman Harjo speak to already being a challenge under our current lease because of the damage being done by the people who use them inappropriately, and the fuel, which has been an on and off issue, and right now is running at one of its highest levels ever, as noticed in the current bill run we purchased fuel recently. So it's one thing to identify where we're getting additional funding streams, but you also have to, in my mind, I have to balance the amount of liability and the amount of cost we incur as part of that process. We need to be managing that. We're making attempts to do that now, but I don't know that they have it yet proven to be substantially better than what the hybrid had when it was done the other way.
Mayor, you just proved my point. The city should not be in business then. If we're struggling to manage how the carts are maintained and ran, etc., then maybe the city, to me, you're proving my point. The city should not be in business of it, since you guys can all fill in the blank with that one, but there's no other, if you own your own business, right? If you own your own business, there's no other greater push you will get than a business owner trying to make that buck. But anything that's ever government funded, there's not that extra push because that paycheck's coming in on the military, the 1st and the 15th, or however it is for the city of Mountain Home. So there was a great big hustle there with TJ, right? There was a really, really good hustle there. And I think if we put out to bid for another pro to come in, and the two things that they get, right, part of the incentive is that they'll get the pro shop, again, which I think a lot of us here, right, we're not big fans of the city funding the pro shop. So they'll have to fund the revenue and maintain the pro shop, and they'll also get their lessons. Okay, so that should go out to bid, and then see what we get. Right, we still don't even know what type of talent might come in. And we got great talent here too. Look, hey, I hear really good stuff about you as well. Okay, so again, put it out to bid and just see what talent comes in and go from there. But again, the city should not, I know people don't like this comment, the city shouldn't be in the business of supplying golf equipment. Okay. I know I've just made half the audience mad at me. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of comments out there. But the more government control, the less I have faith in it succeeding. And I can say that with many other entities within the government at Mountain Home. Whatever. I'm done.
Councilman McCarthy.
I think I'm going to jump in now. For clarification, earlier this year when city had toured city municipalities, please remind me which golf courses were they?
I did Lakeview. I think the other staff went to, what was the other one you guys went to? Did you guys go to, or no, did you call?
The Warm Springs.
We spoke to the city of Caldwell, the city of Blackfoot. In the past, we've also talked.
Oh, good, sorry.
Thank you, Tiffany. So I appreciate the research that's going into it, and some of those golf courses I have also researched myself. I think what I'm concerned of is when we're using places such as Lakeview and Warm Springs, quite frankly, they have a bit of a different financial model. And what I mean is that you have to look at their green fees, their season passes, the number of season passes that they allow. And I feel that that is not what we have currently at Mountain Home, nor does, I would think, the golfing community want. And so while I see that we're using these other municipality golf courses examples, I would like to get more closer to, I don't want to say apples to apples, but apples to apples as comparing apples to apples versus maybe comparing, apples to oranges. But what I mean by that is that they have higher green fees. They definitely charge more for their season passes. They limit the number. Warm Springs I talked to, and they limit their season passes to 150 a season, is what they told me at their establishment. Just talked to Lakeview today, and they talk about how they have over 200 that they limit out there. So while I appreciate the research that's going into this, I would really like to look at municipalities that I feel are similar to also what we have the financial, but also their different models. And I asked Tiffany to send over to council for the record. There were 2 RFPs, one done by Twin Falls and one by Lewiston. And I think the biggest thing is that they went out just to see what the golfing community wanted, if it was, or excuse me, what the interest was. And they left it pretty general. And for me, that was the big thing, is that we should be getting all of our information and trying to have all the avenues look. But when I look over the last couple months, all I've seen is the push for city-owned, city-operated, city-owned, city-operated, from going out for golf clubs to hiring a seasonal temp that we didn't really know about until we appointed to the Golf Advisory Committee. I mean, these things, it just seems that this is the mode of we're stuck on this city. And so I have to ask, why aren't we going out for an RFP for hybrid or contracting just to see what the interest out there is? Lewiston, and I'll mainly point to Twin Falls, they locked in their current green fees, which is currently closer to what we have here at Desert Canyon. They locked those in, and that was part of the RFP. And when they contracted out, that's what the contractor has to stick with and go to in front of city council. Actually, first they have to go in front of their golf advisory committee, and they have to get an approval from city council to raise those prices. So again, if we're trying to make it affordable, but also not on the taxpayer, where we're transferring general funds over every year, why can't we look at all these options? It doesn't bind us to something if we go out for an RFP and we decide that that's not the route that we want to go from what the interest we have. Correct, Paul? we should go.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
council, I'm gonna throw out an idea that feel free to shoot holes in. It's just to try and give us a 50,000-foot view of a potential solution to get us through this year. While we address budget here in a couple of short weeks, that would take effect in October, which is somewhat coinciding with the end of the traditional golfing season, depending on Mother Nature. Here's kind of a shoot from the hip thought. What if we took current staffing model that we have now and maintain it as the status quo? We recognize that the city's operations in having 100% of the revenues from greens fees, carts, trail fees, cart storage, range balls is the current status quo. If the city, and this is the big if the city were to take the retail space, limit specifically to non big ticket items, like buy enough inventory to do grab and go things like sleeves of golf balls, the golf gloves, tees, those small end items that also build the business of what a typical golfer may need on the fly coming to our course to play at Desert Canyon Golf Course. So you establish the retail business, and under the idea of establishing the retail business, anybody who's started a retail business or a business of any sort, you know that like you need a little bit of working capital. So we could set some money aside for working capital to restock for those first couple of cycles till the revenue of the golf pro shop starts paying for itself enough to order those things. But you set a specific dollar amount to it. You set the specific amount to expend for startup costs in acquiring the wholesale cost items. You set aside your capital. We stay relatively low investment out of that concept. I know we all had differing opinions on the intent of that Idaho Power Co-op line. For clarification, that is not city resident taxpayer dollar, but was a negotiated gift. It is and it's not, right? Like
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm so sorry. Keep going.
It is still the people's gift. And to rephrase that, it is the people's gift. It is not something that the people paid in out of their property tax, right? So that is a clear and defined line. While it is within the bucket of general fund, once it's there, right? So if we took that, use that as the one-time startup cost with some operating capital to reacquire and restock and those things, but set the limit to both its intended expenditure and, more importantly, if we're going to get in the retail business, we need to run it like a retail business, which means that we need to have minimum thresholds for margin of profit. Anybody who's run a retail business should understand this aspect of it. If you, as it was described at one point, one of the example courses, their pro was able to discount items in their pro shop, in their city-owned pro shop, down to a 0% profit. Well, that is a loss. Full stop. Because it still costs money to keep the lights on, still costs money to keep the person behind the register. There is a minimum margin just to break even, and that break even is not 0%. So as the concept, keep status quo in staffing. That gets us through the end of the year. Buy staff time to adjust what next year's budget looks like, which will be presented to us in a few weeks here. We enter the retail space under those very specific terms and also put some performance due date to it, that if that retail function is not is not self-sustaining over a given period of time, whether that's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever that looks like, then the city politely backs out of that thing. It's a starting point. If it's not palatable to the council, no hard feelings. I'm just trying to get this ball rolling somewhere because we've had this talk for months now about what this thing is and what our intent is. We've burned a lot of council time, a lot of staff time talking about this thing. I feel like we have all of the data in front of us. It's just aligning opinions and starting to find some points of negotiation. With that, I will yield.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
I'll jump in the deep water on this. So, Councilman Harjo, while I appreciate your willingness to compromise and try and get something rolling, again, I am very hesitant to get into spending any of that money for the retail shop again. To me, getting the ball rolling would be to go out for an RFP to put the concerns we have about how you have to have a PGA Pro. I mean, there's everything in these two requests for proposals that I have asked Tiffany to share you all, where I feel getting the ball rolling is either going for the RFP to open up for a hybrid or contract, or yes, kind of backpedaling from what this body had originally denied with the City Pro. And I think, if I may speak so candidly, I think to go with that approach of trying to keep things, at status, that it's just going to keep kicking down the road. And I don't think the golfing community, and quite frankly, the public, wants that. So I think it's time to either rip the Band-Aid off and to proceed with an RFP, or to, like I said, backpedal from what the city. And I'm going to be frank that I want to go forward with an RFP. I want to find out these options. So for many reasons, which I would love to discuss in depth more, I won't try and take all the night times tonight. So that being said, that's how I feel getting the ball running is going for an RFP.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Councilman McCarthy, do you have a idea of the timeline of how you'd like to achieve that?
There.
Councilman McCarthy, sorry.
Councilman Harjo, for clarification, you're asking for the whole RFP process, or just trying to have like a workshop so that we can figure out what we want in the RFP? Or I guess are you looking for the initial timeline, or are you looking out for the overall timeline for an RFP?
There.
Councilman Harjo.
Overall, I think that's probably the big number that affects the golfing community the most. If we have, some idea of the steps in between, obviously, posting, whether for a given period of time, 10 days, 30 days, whatever the council sees fit in that instance. Just trying to, not opposed to the concept of doing that. I'm just trying to get a concept of how long this process may take, just through the RFP and then the potential negotiation once we identify an individual.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
I think it takes time to do things correctly. So I can't necessarily say it takes a year, but I can't say it takes 30 days. I would get the Twin Falls request for proposal. They give a schedule that I think is doable. It does take a couple months, but that goes back to us getting the proposal all together, deadlines, advertising, everybody submitting their RFPs. It can take a couple months, but again, I feel with the golfing community, if we come out with that and say this is the direction we're going, at least it's moving towards something instead of this stuck in a low place of, are we going to spend a little money on the retail, or, we're going to have a seasonal temp go around and try and help us operate with everything. So
When you say RP, are you talking about going out for third party? Okay. Mayor or someone, Tiffany, if we did do that, how many people would lose their jobs that work for the city of Mountain Home at the golf course? Can I ask that question, Paul? Because that should be something that should be in consideration.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
I want that answer.
Oh, I'm gonna try to offer you one.
Oh, okay.
Councilman Sanders, sorry.
It could be all or nothing. A new vendor coming in may want to take existing city staff and offer them positions under the contract. It's an unknown. They may want to bring all their old people. And if that's the case, then you're looking at between maintenance and operations, about, if I think right, Jake, somewhere around 14 seasonal employees and 5 full-time, because you have 3 full-time and then how many seasonal?
Right now, I think
Okay, so 7 on your side. And then right now we have 3, Jeff and Chris. So 5, 9. City staff could potentially lose their positions on the contract out or keep them all. The new contractor coming in may want every one of them to stay. We just don't have any way of knowing. That's what makes these decisions less palatable and more difficult.
And Mayor,
Councilwoman Wilcox.
excuse me. And that's why I wanted to point that out, because people's jobs are on the line. And if it's just one person's job or if it's 20 people losing their job, that hurts the community. So that's why I was nervous to go with the third party for that reason. I think going with the hybrid solution is meeting in the middle. I really do. You created the hybrid solution 2 years ago this month, I think it was, when we were trying to figure this out, when I think the former pro put in his resignation the first time, right? So, again, you have really valid points, because you're like, yeah, damage to the golf course, gas is going up. Again, that's also an unknown. So do you feel like if we go with the hybrid option for, let's say, 2 years, that could be our meeting in the middle?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
here's the challenges I see with the hybrid. One would be a short term. You're not offering as many revenue opportunities in the hybrid as you did back when you had the previous one, before the city took over the carts and before the city took over the range. There was more attractive opportunities for more revenue, for more hustle. That was clearly demonstrated in the numbers that came out through the run of that original contract. Once we moved to hybrid, and 2 of the major funding streams for that contractor moved to the city, along with all the costs associated with it, this contractor stayed for a year and a couple of months. It was attractive to him to take a full-time position at another golf course than it was for him to remain here with the revenue streams he could generate under the contract he was working under at the time.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
I don't disagree, Councilman Sanders. I mean, as the person who designed the hybrid model that we were previously under, the specific intent between my efforts to talk with him and come up with a solution that worked for the short term, the intent was, and that's why the duration of that contract was 2 years, with a bailout clause. There's a specific reason for that. So it did fulfill its intent in a number of ways, right? And granted, it leaves us sitting where we sit today. But there was a billboard in the center of this town saying we were going to miss that individual. And we had a young man from the golf community at the high school come and sit here nearly in tears, begging to keep him here in one way, shape, or form. And that's exactly what that plan did. And it executed it as well as humanly possible to bridge both the needs of the city and that golf pro. So I am fully understanding that it wasn't ideal, but I also understand that it fulfilled the exact best case scenario need for the biggest portion of the people.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Councilman Harjo, absolutely right. It was the right fix at the right time for that situation. Hands down. My observation is, as a matter of attractiveness to someone else coming in, it's not going to be as attractive as what the situation was prior. So as a result, I'm relatively dissuaded that we will have quality respondents looking only at that level of interaction with us at that golf course. It's not, in my mind, it's not as attractive a piece. And the piece that we have been operating under was that bridge piece. The opportune time to have had the discussions we're struggling with this very instant, in my mind, was 2 years ago when the hybrid went into place, because we knew it was going to be short term. At least that was the belief. Even though there was the option to extend, there was clearly a schism forming that this was designed to bridge. We've run out of the track, folks. The train's on the end of the trestle, and we're peering off the end. So we need to move forward in a direction, and I'm willing, if this is what the council wants to do, is to try to stay with this modified hybrid reduced opportunity, go and put it out there. Great. If they want to go out for a full-blown RFP, fine. We've got a process for that. And by the way, just as a matter of fact, I'm looking at the Twin Falls report. If we if we plagiarized their report and plugged in us for them throughout and found it otherwise acceptable, and even got their permission to use the majority of their language, if we went out on August 25th, they proposed going out for the first advertisement on August 25th. They signed contracts November 3rd, and the contract started January 1. So lead time on a contract of this nature, not unusual for it to be 5 to 6 months before implementation.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Councilman Sanders, I appreciate the perspective where you don't know. I think, first of all, for the RFP, Twin Falls made it very broad. They went out for operations and or maintenance. So that includes a hybrid model. It could be that we do operations. It could be do operations and maintenance. That's the part of the RFP, is that you are putting the onus on the private sector to come here in the city and say, this is what the business model is, and this is how we're going to make it succeed. Where, no disrespect, and I put this on myself, I have no idea how to run a golf course. I have no expertise in a golf course. Does anyone up here?
Absolutely not. That's why we have a committee that I wish would come and talk to us.
And so
I invite
again,
them to talk to us.
and so again, I come back to have the private sector.
Good. Yes, come up and talk to us.
We don't have an agenda, sorry.
I have one. So
Mayor.
let Councilman McCarthy finish.
Thank you. So what I'm saying is, what is the issue with the private sector putting it on them to come and say, this is the business model? We can look at it and say, it doesn't work for us, and then go back and say, yep, we will backpedal and we will go with the city. But the fact of is, either we said no to city operated completely, and we're still kind of in the middle about this. Well, we'll just kind of limp this along by maybe spending some money on the retail, and that we'll figure it out eventually. So again, I come back to is, put it on the private sector to come in for us with their business plans, because again, we don't know if it's attractive or not. They have the onus of presenting their business model.
Council, I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to let you guys do your thing. And the staff and myself, we've spent countless hours going back and forth on where we believe, and obviously our proposal aligns with the golf course proposal. My thought process, and this is just clearly Mayor Sykes' thought process, give us the opportunity. So I was jotting down some stuff. We've gotten some T-sheets. We got some revenue data from past, from last year's model to a couple of tournaments to this one, and then adding the T-sheet structure of adding more revenue or rounds played. I think what some people have the heartburn is we're using tax dollars to put into the golf course. no different than a park, no different than recreation at the pool, no different than the cemetery, no different than any other, I would say, general fund, right? And so what's your return on your investment? At least with the golf course, you're getting something. You're getting some sort of revenue. And then I tried to kick it around in my head. What about, okay, well, I just can't go out there anytime I want and play, but I can go out to the driving range. I can go do those things. And then I was like, well, if I want to go to the park and someone has it rented, I can't go out there until they're done being rented. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe that's where that aligns. And I hear everyone's facets. I hear yours, and I get it. I hear it. I hear Miss Councilwoman Worklas. I hear Councilman Sanders. I hear your Councilman Harjo's. And this is just, if we're going to vote on anything tonight, I'm going to tell you my vote, even though I probably won't get a vote. But if I was going to vote tonight, and a council member said, "Hey, I want to see if the city can turn it around in 3 years." Give the city the opportunity for the 2 years, because obviously this year is kind of, it's not shot. I think we can make a lot of headroom with the remaining of the season. I went to the golf course committee last night, and they were like, "Oh, we've got $8,000 that we were going to spend in the pro shop," you know. And then I think the ladies league had something, is what you guys had said. My thought process, if we're going to vote on something, this is just my 2 cents. And then it puts the onus back on the golf course. Let us do fill the pro shop with the minimal, like we were talking about, like Councilman Harjo said. Set it at $25,000, and then say, hey, we're gonna budget, let's say, 40 for the pro shop, but just give 25 just to get it open, operated, filled, and then come back when that inventory is getting depleted. Come back to the council, say, hey, I need that extra 15,000 to keep us going because of the tournaments, the men's league, the women's league. Show the statistical data, and this is another facet of this whole thing. We haven't even talked about the training facility. Do the training facility, because there's lost revenue there. There's lost rounds played in the training facility. So the thought process is there's one of 2 ways you can make it break even, right? You can raise your fees so high that then you're probably going to lose golfers, or you can do it by getting more rounds played. We need to grow the game. We need to get more youth involved. Like the men's association talked about last night. You know, that's the only way that if the truly thing is to break even, I don't have a problem. Do I play golf? Yes. Have I made a lot of great memories out there? Yes. Have I gone to the city pool with my children? Yes. Does that break even? Does it even quantify to come and breaking even? No. But we have these amenities for the citizens of Mountain Home for quality of life. So when we're talking about these kind of things, how do you put a price on quality of life? To me, when I'm out there trying to solicit a business, they're going to say, hey, what do you have in the city of Mountain Home for my staff when I want to bring my business here? And the number 4 things are a cemetery, which, if you can believe that one, library, parks and recreation, and a golf course. Those are the 4 big takeaways of bringing business here. So if whatever you guys decide, that is, if I had to ask for anything, I say we go to a pro, city pro, and then the ask would be to fill the pro shop. Let's see what kind of revenue we can generate. Let's see what kind of revenue or rounds played that we can generate with the new T-sheet structure, with the 4 out that you guys graciously allowed us to get, and I appreciate the hell out of that. I know it's come with some of its challenges. We're trying to get everything put in there and all that good stuff. That is just, if that's just my 2 cents. Take it, don't take it, but that's where I am. If it comes down to a vote and we're going to go one way or the other, that's where I'm going to vote on. Now, if we're going to do the RFQ, if we're going to do the hybrid, where I stand. Councilman Harjo, I'll get off my soapbox.
Mayor, thank you. I understand we have a couple of members of the Golf Advisory Committee in the room. Would you guys mind joining us in part of conversation? I got a couple questions I'd like to ping you with. Sure. Thanks for taking your time to come tonight and to be a part of the committee. You know, I know these are odd and stressful conversations sometimes. One of the things that the mayor said that kind of lights the bulb of curiosity for me. So one of the comments said that there's what I would consider a significant amount of pro shop credit that some of the leagues carry. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so for everybody that doesn't know me, I'm Alex Rodriguez. I actually run the men's league here in Mount Home. So what we do is that we charge people to come and play. It's an annual deal. Then they pay their green fees separate, bypasses, whatever. So we currently have 72 members playing, or golfers playing in men's league every Wednesday night. That also brings money not just to the golf course, but to birdies and gets people out and about. So we have, I believe, $8,600 in the bank that is normally spent at the pro shop, ran through the previous pro is what it was ran through, because we cannot legally give out cash by the end of the year. And that's how we pay. Currently the structure is the top 4 teams that finish by point systems. They get paid the bigger chunk. The rest of it goes through all the other teams that are involved. But also it helps fund more another tournament, which is the club championship tournament. So we have to find a way this year, if the pro shop does not get fulfilled, to give that out, and that could be gift cards to like Dick's Sporting Goods or somewhere outside of Mountain Home that money could be spent that people are earning in Mountain Home could be spent back in Mountain Home. So it's just kind of a big circle deal. And we're doing a lot. We actually have plans to do fundraising as well for scholarship fund for the high school golf team. Some of our money goes to there, along I believe with the women's league as well. So, but my biggest thing is that we're trying to cycle the money back into Mountain Home as well, and currently we can't.
Thank you. Follow-up question. So the 8,600 that you mentioned that the men's league has, would it be safe to assume that like the ladies league and other leagues and tournaments also follow the same, where they're carrying some balance of retail credit?
Yes. I don't know for sure on the women's league, but I do know the club championship. It is also from the members. That is money that's going back. That would be back into the pro shop as well.
Okay. Mayor and council, this is in the retail space called captive customers. Going back to the concept of like shoot holes in this thing and narrow down to the retail part. So you did have the city get into the limited golf retail space, and you've all heard me say it, and everybody in the golfing realm has approached me about this afterwards by my comments. I still maintain that the city does not need to get into the business of selling golf club sets that are thousands of dollars and having them sit on the shelf. But that doesn't prohibit us from making those sales through an ordering process, but still fulfilling what the golfing community needs in a retail space, like golf balls, tees, sun visors, sunscreen, gloves, grips, like that smaller level of initial investment. I feel like keeps us in a balance where you, as the golfing community, may have an opportunity to not just buy those things as a matter of convenience for those who do hold that store credit, but as well those who are successful golfers, which I'm not, and have amassed a significant amount of store credit that they could buy that set of Mizuno clubs or whatever through a matter of ordering through our pro shop. With $8,600 sitting here, potentially similar amounts in these other functions of groups that regularly utilize the golf course. That in and of itself, if we invested, I forget the figure that the mayor threw out there. My initial idea was, was 10,000 initial cost, 10,000 in capital to sustain the pro shop through its first few cycles of buying merchandise and restocking those things. But the revenue is already here to support that methodology. It's literally sitting right here. If we made $10,000 investment to start that business and $10,000 of reserve capital for a total investment of $20,000, we're halfway there, sitting right in front of us. And it will continue to be a captive business throughout its operation. That is good business sense. I don't play golf. You all heard me. I don't want to buy into the niche retail business of golf. That ensures that a limited capacity of reasonable retail while still offering the products through the retail space for special order, those dollars still come back and the margins still hit our revenue. I'm in favor of this part, knowing this fact right here, because that was something that was unknown to me previously. That these leagues carry balances like this.
Well, and if I might too, I know there's been some talk about being in competition, private sector. That's not really what a golf pro shop is all about. First of all, a golf pro shop usually has a higher profit margin put on your clubs, so that say a tailor-made driver at a pro shop costs you more than if you go to Golf Galaxy, right? But it's a convenience issue. Some people are willing to pay it, especially when they win money out there. They're not going to go to Golf Galaxy. They'll spend it with our pro shop. So just want to clarify that we're not in competition. A pro shop would not be in competition with a Walmart, because Walmart doesn't carry the top high-end balls, for instance. They don't.
Understood.
They carry the cheap ones. Certain golfers like the more expensive ones, and that's what a pro shop's for.
True.
Chris, I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah, I'll yield for that. I appreciate your
So I asked
input.
you,
Thank you.
kind of a question. I asked, and Chris, come up here really quick. I asked Chris, I'm like, hey, if we did the pro shop, like, how much do you think we need to start? He was like, oh, what, $20,000, 25,000.
Report concerning this matter, and I forwarded the email to you. This is just basic tournament play operations with all the outstanding groups and tournaments we have going out there, and I'll just read this. Let's talk about a tournament payout. Okay, men's league is a tournament payout. So, for example, we had a group out there this weekend that paid $80 entry fee, $60 that you got back in green fees and carts. You know, they charged $80 to $100. They're getting their own prizes from other places and bringing it to your facility. It's money that you normally would come through your facility. All right. So, you know, out of this $80 entry fee, $60 you're getting green fees, $20, that's $2,000 that would be spent in your pro shop. And I just did a little breakdown how you do a payout on here, so we had two events in May, brought in $4,000 prize money. 3 events in June we have upcoming, that's $6,000. We have 4 events coming up in July, 3 in August, 3 in September. So that's $30,000 in pro shop sales. You're leaving on the table. You get a 25% return on that. Then I added in $8,400 from the men's league and $2,200 from the ladies league. So that's $40,000. Your 25% return, that's $10,000 in profit. So between now and October.
And that's not just,
yeah.
Okay, that's only counting tournament stuff. The convenience of being there when you show up to play on a Tuesday night, Friday night, whenever it is, If you realize that you are out of golf balls, you can buy $5 sleeve of golf balls, but it's being spent in there. Whether the city makes 40% or whatever, it's just the convenient factor of being there. I've personally already this year have had to order tees. I've had to order other things as well as like grips. I'm getting new grips. I've done all that outside of Mountain Home already, so I think I've spent about $400 roughly in my golf equipment that I cannot spend in Mountain Home. So it's just that's one little tidbit, but.
So I had people call to book a tee time, asked if we had left-handed rentals clubs. All wanted to rent rental clubs, so even if we get that $20, now you're losing $240 round of golf. 20 for rental, 60 for the cart, another 80. 80 times 4, that's $320. Just because one group we couldn't accommodate. Those are the bottom line. It's things like that is why you run into debt. Things like that I'm trying to change to accommodate. You don't close a course for a golf tournament. With your new system, that's the merchandising for you. I'm trying to go live with this July 1st. Jeff and I are on Zoom calls every Tuesday and Thursday. We're ahead of the game. We feel like they're holding us back right now. This thing up and going. Just need the hardware ordered, which we have the credit. I want to get this going by July 1st. That's my goal. The merchandise, it's all tracked. I'll work directly with the city accountant. Sue's already been working with me to set up accounts, things. You don't need high ticket items. We do a demo day for tailor-made for Titleist. They come to us. Everybody gets to try out that brand new $600 driver. They want to order it. We have an account to order that. It's a combination. Okay, I worked for Golf Galaxy for 12 years. We do custom bidding. Custom bidders right here. The tailor-made bidders right there. That's what they do. We have host demo days and events for people. Anybody can come out there. I'd like to have a free lesson day for everybody in the city, and there's so many things, opportunities are not happening. We have dead space between 2 and 4 o'clock. Nobody plays golf out there. There's opportunities to create more rounds of golf. I took a picture of the highway. You can't even see the sign that says Desert Canyon as you drive by. There's huge opportunities, and there's no database created here. Everybody plays golf. We're going to track their name, phone number, email, and create a database where you can do mass marketing. Not just a Mountain Home, but the biggest thing is 30 miles away, 40 miles away. Micron right there. 80% of the parking lot weekends. Counties here. Cheaper to play. We need to market that area. I know exactly what they did with the Twin Balls. Nobody in the right mind is going to, lease a facility at a profit lossing situation. Okay? You based on what you're going to charge for rent, on what you make in profit. I worked for Troon Golf for 12 years. The proposal from Troon Golf wrote that proposal that I saw that's 3 years old. Right now, there is no strength. They have nothing but weaknesses.
Mayor.
I gotta say, Councilman Carth, Councilman Carth, sorry.
Chris, did you say you sent that numbers to the mayor?
Report?
I did an email before the golf board meeting. I resigned from yesterday. I sent this to this email I sent out at 12:21. I sent it to the mayor. This was just based on tournament play. I can give you all kinds of strength and SWOT analysis.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Council, or hang on a second, Councilman Sanders. Councilman Harjo.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Gentlemen, as members of the committee, clearly a big portion of our discussion tonight revolves around the staffing model. Golf committee had provided some feedback on the desire for the staffing model. You have any additional comments, feedback based on the discussions?
I think what's been our frustration, probably your frustration too, is that you have not provided a direction yet where this golf course is going to go. So here we are sitting on a golf board, but we don't really know the model. So how are we supposed to make recommendations? So it's been very frustrating as far as that goes. And I would just hope, I'm at the point where I really don't care what you guys decide. Just decide something.
I'm the same way. Yes.
I'm serious. The more we drag this out, the more frustrated people become.
Yes,
So.
100%. We lost our.
Well, he's asked me.
So. Thank you. This is a lot of information. I want to request 5-minute recess, maybe 8-minute recess. I need to talk to Paul. So I'm gonna.
Miss,
Are you guys good with that?
Just one moment. I'd been in the queue to speak, but I decided to get you in.
Okay.
I want to make one other comment, an observation from last year. When it comes to potential funding, there are several tournaments that are held that in my past experience, I know those sponsors of those tournaments, and I'm talking tournaments like Simplot, like Curly's, I'm probably missing a couple of them, added money to the prize pool over and above what was brought in by the players.
Correct. Yes.
We call that money that was added for the payouts. There were even some times when the former pro out there took his own personal money. Club championships come to mind in particular, and he added several $100s from his revenues back into the tournaments for use back. He got cycled back through the pro shop, of course, but it is not just the number of players alone. For some of these tournaments, there is significant amount of money that is added to those tournaments' prize pools by their sponsors.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, I have information on, or feedback on Twin Falls setup and how their pro shop was ran. My close friend actually is the assistant pro there now. He applied for the pro position, and I asked questions about kind of things going on with ours. And for him, it would make a total sense if the golf pro was a city employee, because then he would have all the great things to do. He wouldn't have to worry about the carts. He wouldn't have to do about anything like that. Now, if you go to a hybrid and the city controls the carts and the range balls, that is a major profits side of things for a pro. That's how they make their money, not just off of golf balls and everything else. So
correct.
But we can go down that road later.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, sorry.
In your absence, Councilman Workla asked for a 5-minute recess to consult with legal.
Oh, okay.
You good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody?
No, just don't you guys want a break? You guys want a 5-minute break? We still have to talk about water.
You done with us?
I think I'm good with them. They don't need to stay.
Yeah,
so long.
I appreciate you guys coming up and providing that feedback. Thank you.
You guys want to go on break, or you want?
I am.
Are we adjourned for 5?
Well, I point of order. If this is a legal consultation and we've got enough to make a quorum in that back room, should that not be executive session?
No, I'm just talking to him. My thing is.
If you would like to talk to me, that's fine. Correct.
Okay, all right.
You don't get to have everybody.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you.
We're having a party and you're not invited.
What Chris just
All right. I have mics in the walls have ears.
Of course.
None of the audio is being shut off.
Oh, don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Just leave it.
Mayor, for the record, are we in recess?
But yeah, you guys, we're still talking though, because we don't want to touch any. We had
No, no, just for the record.
Yeah, you're on break. Council. So here is T-belt. There you go. There's the. I just sent you the way they break down the tournament entry fee.
And so both the RFQs for both those cities have a 6-month window from announcement to service start. Yes, please.
I'm good, thank you though.
Right there. A little nip in
Plain sight?
Yeah, it's always about.
Of course it was.
Yes, sir.
2 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Time to the taco joints closed.
Say Taco John's?
Oh, taco joints.
Oh, joints. I was like Taco John's been closed for a while. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
We go to that one in Twin. Like if we go down to Costco down there, there's one right up the road.
Oh, really?
It's like nostalgic.
used up left. I gotta make it stretch. These have water.
I just introduced, I outed you. Oh. Not that outing, you did that a long time ago. There's an email here. That was my truck, by the way. Trying to be suave.
Yeah, I don't know what, it's been doing that lately, where it just starts going off. Yeah.
Hey, what pro do they want at the golf course? I get that mixed up. Is it a pro number letter pro
Class A?
A?
That's what Decker said before.
Like most training sessions, 5 minutes is 20. When you put them on break, you never get them back. You know what I mean, right? You don't give them breaks. Take breaks, they take forever.
It's fine. Getting sleepy. What's that?
Still haven't gotten to the pigeons and the other vermin yet.
You made me laugh. I don't know how to do that.
Did you say greatness?